I'm Alex Sharfin, and this is the Momentum Podcast, made for empire builders, game changers, trailblazers, shot takers, record breakers, world makers, and creators of all kinds. Those among us who can't turn it off and don't know why anyone would want to. We challenge complacency, destroy apathy, and we are obsessed with creating momentum so we can roll over bureaucracy and make our greatest contribution. Sure, we pay attention to their rules, but only so that we can bend them, break them, then rewrite them around our own will. We don't accept our destiny, we define it. We don't understand defeat because you only lose if you stop, and we don't know how. While the rest of the world strives for average and clings desperately to the status quo, we are the minority, the few, who are willing to hallucinate there could be a better future. And instead of just daydreaming of what could be, we endure the vulnerability and exposure it takes to make it real. We are the evolutionary hunters, clearly the most important people in the world, because entrepreneurs are the only source of consistent, positive human evolution, and we always will be. I am so excited to have you back on the podcast, Emily, especially given all the progress you've made with your team. And I just have to tell you, last weekend, being able to go to the big team retreat that you did and see your team was so incredible. Like, what an amazing group of professionals. And I walked in the room and I immediately felt grounded and calm and connected, because that's how your entire team is. It's extraordinary, Emily.
Yeah, it was such a surreal experience to have over 30 people that I've built in the last year and a half in one room with you, who has helped me build all those people up, and just have it like all, I just could take it in fast enough.
Yeah, it was like, what was interesting is I felt like you were in exactly the place that you should be. You're in front of the room leading this team. They all see you as their leader. There was multiple conversations about like how we're going to support this system, grow the business, and the level of intelligence you've been able to recruit is incredible. I mean, do you feel that when you look at your team?
Yeah, I mean, I'm blown away, and I tell them that. I have moments where I'm like, is this real? Like, do I really have this amazing? I mean, I feel like we can do anything together.
Yeah. And it looks like you can do anything together, because as challenges were discussed in the retreat, like every business has issues. Your business is broken. If things go well, it always will be. And you want a team that discusses challenges transparently. And what I realized listening to the conversations in the room, that your team speaks in it's almost a pattern. It's like, here's the challenge. Let's discuss the solution. Let's drive it to a close. And it's like quick. They want to get stuff out of the way and keep going fast. You feel that, don't you?
Yeah, totally. Which I've worked really hard to create that. And I think that's what I do. So I've just really pushed it to the team. And I started the retreat off saying, you're amazing if you're here because you got through our 7-step interview process alone. Right. So everyone in this room is incredible to even be like, make it here.
Yeah, no question. And it was just awesome. So I want to draw out some of what got you there, Emily, because I think so many people listening to my podcast are trying to build a team. They want to get in forward momentum. They want to feel that incredible rush of having a group of people help you accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, and that feeling of just massive leverage. Like, describe, just so that people listening can get a feeling, what is it like to wake up every day knowing that there's 30 people out, well, now way more than 30 people out there working on your business, helping you pursue your goals and making massive outcomes for your clients?
I mean, it's so powerful, because I know that, I can, like yesterday, I filmed for 8 hours. I did not work in the business. I didn't even check email. I didn't look at anything. And we have 65 clients. I mean, if I didn't have a team, that would be a nightmare if it was just, me. And I think we should give background. Like a year and a half ago, I had 0 team. So if somebody has never heard me on your podcast or doesn't know me, like, I had 0 team when I met Alex, and I was like trying to make contractors work and was like overworking this one full-time contractor with no systems. My system was like, watch me on Zoom, copy what I'm doing and go, and don't talk to me because I'm so busy. And so that was literally a year and a half ago. And I like hated meetings. I'd go like months without getting on a meeting with anybody. And so I can't even believe the transformation. And what's cool is I have some people on my team that have been on since the beginning. And so they've seen the transformation. And we joke about like, remember what this used to be like a year and a half ago? Like, it was a crazy, crazy.
Well, let's take us back to that, Emily. So what did the frustrations feel like when we first got together? What I remember is you had massive opportunity And it felt like just complete overwhelm on a daily basis. That's what it felt like to me. Why don't you, in your own words, what did it feel like before we started working together, before you actually had that team and you had a strategic plan in place to drive that team?
Yeah. So, I mean, it was just massive overwhelm. Like I work about like 6 to 7 hours a day, like the entire time on back-to-back calls, like sales calls, client calls. That's why I had no time for team calls. Like I was just on Zoom all day and it was so draining and I hated it. Like but I also didn't know, I got my business to a certain point, just like hustling and doing what I know how to do best and building client relationships and delivering a good result for them. And then I'm like, I don't know what to do next because like, obviously I have no more time to take more calls or do anything. So I would just dread turning my phone on in the morning because it was like, I knew I was going to have a ton of emails and like a full schedule and I didn't enjoy it at all.
So take us back to that time. What did it feel like on a daily basis, trying to get everything done and just not having leverage?
I mean, you're just like so drowning in the day to day that you can barely see tomorrow. That's literally what it feels like. Is like you get up and you're like, okay, I have all these calls and this is what I'm going to do. And then the day's over and you're exhausted and like, okay, let's do it again tomorrow. And it's like really hard to see the next, you don't even know where you're going because you're like, I just have to keep getting through the next day. And like, maybe someday it'll be better once I have so-and-so or once I have this in place. But it didn't, like, until I really could build the team and actually pass stuff off and like fully get it off my plate. But it's just, you can't even see past literally tomorrow because you're drowning in work and you're like so overwhelmed that you can barely think.
Did that reactivity in your business create reactivity in your life outside of the business?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was like exhausted by the end of the day for my kids because for me, being on calls for 7 hours is like terrible. I really don't like that. And so I was just exhausted by the end of the day. And then I wasn't looking forward to the next day. And it was like almost a Groundhog Day of like, just keep waking up and doing 7 hours of calls because I was doing sales calls and client calls and everything. So it just made me so like, that's all I could do. And then I was drained outside of it.
So it's a year and a half later, and I was just at this event with an over 30-person team, and you guys are in momentum. You have 65 clients. Could you have imagined that a year and a half ago?
No, definitely not. I mean, what's so cool is like, even especially Amy Porterfield, like she was a mentor for me. I learned things about Facebook ads when I was starting 3 years ago and listened to her podcast. So I would have said, no way, like, is that going to be my client someday? So when she became my client, that was one of the most like ironic ones for me because it was like, I literally listened to her podcast with my newborn 3 years ago. And now she's our client.
It's like, it's come full circle.
Yeah.
That's so intense. So tell us a little bit about why you think, I want to know why you think that you're getting that level of client, because do you think that clients like that would even talk to you if you didn't have an organization, a team, like an entire structure behind you?
Absolutely not. Like, no, because in order to get what they need at that level, you can't, like, one person never could do it all. Not even one person who works for me. Like if I had one ads manager, that wouldn't work. I mean, you need like an entire team on your ad account, which is what I like talk about all the time because it's different skill sets that goes into it. So no, I don't think that it would even be on the table. And why I've gotten those clients is because of the delivery. Every single high level client that we have ever signed has been a referral from another high level client. So because we can deliver so well and we have such an awesome team and processes that you've helped me build out, we sign these clients and they get sent to us because our actual delivery is so good. Like it's not my crazy marketing for myself that's actually getting me these clients. It's because we deliver and then they hear about it from other people.
Yeah. So I want to talk about a transition, or actually I want to talk about something you brought up when we were talking right before we hit record, is that we've been working together about a year and a half. And what you've been using is our systems, which, you know, are clear strategic planning, a communication system, and then a structure to have the right processes, the right projects, the right people, build the infrastructure of the business. And we were just talking about strategic planning. And you said something really interesting, that now when you sat down with your team this last weekend, you guys planned like over a year in advance. And before, when we first started working together, you just said it was day to day. So take us through that transition. Like, what's it like to be able to see a bigger future like that? What does it mean to the business?
I mean, it's everything, because you can play like that role as a CEO, as the visionary, which you can't do if you're drowning in just like getting through today and getting to tomorrow, which is how I was a year and a half ago. And so now I can see next year, I pretty much know everything we're going to do at a high level. And when my leadership team was here, we had a whole day where we find it really helpful to like brainstorm everything we want to do and then break it out so that when it comes to quarterly and monthly planning, we're like, we can just reference that and we know what we need to do. And then if anything changes, we can change it. But it's great to have, it just really helps the overwhelm too, because you're like, I know I want to do all these things, like, and then you feel like you're failing because you're not working on them, but you can actually say, no, we're not working on that until Q4. We've already decided that as a team. So, I can sit down with my team, and I've done this a number of times where we kind of just like brain dump everything we want to do and all the projects and like gaps that we see and issues. And then we can plan it out over, the next quarter or the next, 2 quarters. For us, we did at least through the rest of this year. So that's 6 months that we know everything we're going to be working on. I mean, things might come up that we add in, but at least when we actually sit down to do our quarterly and our monthly planning, we have an idea. And I'm able to also not feel the overwhelm of like, oh my gosh, I want to do this big project and why are we working on it this month? And I actually know because we're not working on that until September, like we've agreed on that. And I used to never be able to see that like at all. And so it's allowed me to grow from 1 to 3 million since I started working with you, because I can be that strategic person that I need to be in the business. And not only that, but I have a leadership team that I help do this now. So it's not even just me creating these. I'm just giving them the like permission that yes, those are our priorities. Now you go in your department and make sure that that's what happens.
Yeah. And it's incredible. You've grown from 1 to 3 million, but your profitability is off the charts too, isn't it? In the past couple of months?
Yeah. In the past like 6 months when we made the changes of price increase and the client that we're serving, we doubled our average client payment in the last 6 months. So.
And tell me, how much is a strategic plan involved in that level of execution, like doubling client payments, changing the way that you bill, changing the way you deliver, adding people to the team? How could you do that if you didn't have a forward-looking plan?
No, I mean, it's everything. Like the entire process of like our client overhaul, like we did 2 things this year so far. We raised our prices for existing clients, and then we had to go through and raise our price for we raised our prices for new clients, and then we had to go through for existing clients, which was a massive project because I had never raised my price before. And so it was like monthly planning of like the different rounds that we were going to go through of doing that. And so, no, I mean, nobody would know what was happening if we didn't have planning.
Yeah, you end up with like a team going in all different directions, which thankfully you really, and since you have contractors, you haven't experienced the team scattered because from the beginning, you've had this plan that's kept people dialed in.
Yeah. Yeah. And my team's obsessed with it. Like we always are like referencing the waterfall and the weekly commitments.
Do you feel like people get smarter when they have a strategic plan?
For sure. I mean, they just get more efficient too. So it's like, I know what everybody's working on. They know what they're working on. And the team members that I have like just feel so much more clear on their expectations and what they're supposed to be doing and if they're on track. And before I wasn't able to provide that with people because I didn't even know, like, it was like, just help me take away the overwhelm. And so now they're really clear and they have metrics of like, did I complete that project or not? And in the time frame that we agreed on. And so especially for employees that really need that, like they're not like us where I can have like 10 things in my head and projects and like be, it's overwhelming, but I can manage it. They can't, like they hate that. So it's made people way more efficient, and us as a team, like that's what's so powerful is everybody working on the same thing. And you can look back. I mean, I can look back on the last quarter and I've like put together an entire course launch, like added these huge clients that we named, put together an entire team retreat, like overhauled processes, all these things that it's almost like you can't even imagine 30 people would get that done while still serving 65 clients. And we've just done it because of the planning that we have in place.
And when I met with your team, I didn't see like a team that felt overwhelmed to me or a team that felt like they were on the razor's edge. I mean, it sounds like they're producing almost an impossible amount for the size of team you have, but it felt like, I'm sure there's moments of overwhelm. You run an agency, every business has moments of overwhelm, but as a collective whole, the team felt focused and resolute and determined. It's amazing you can accomplish that much with a team that size and still have them feel that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, overwhelm comes up, but when we also always have a solution for it and we put in a plan to like fix the process that's causing the overwhelm or change whatever we need to change. So it's not like, I mean, if you have constant overwhelm on your team, you're just going to have a lot of turnover, honestly, because people don't like to feel overwhelmed every day in their job, especially not employees. Like they don't thrive off of it like I do, you know?
Yeah, like people like us do, right? Like, let's get real. So people like you and I mean, I watch your Instagram stories every morning. You do workouts that completely overwhelm your system on purpose. And so do I. Like I was just downstairs with 8 electrodes attached to my body working out because a normal workout just doesn't feel intense enough. So like we welcome the overwhelm. But, you know, in the last year and a half of working with a team, what have you learned about overwhelming the team besides that they'll leave?
They'll leave, but then they'll also not like be efficient. They'll be like confused and frazzled and, you know, not know what they're supposed to be doing and like just not be able to put out their best work. And it's so much more powerful when you can help them make sure they're not overwhelmed by giving them that strategic plan and like, here's my priorities for you. And I've even learned working with you to be like, that's not priority, work on this instead, because I know you can't do both. And that's been really huge because in the past, I would also just be like, just do everything, like get it all done fast, you know, because I'm paying you. So that's been really helpful because I give them that, you know, permission to succeed really. And then they're happy and they can see, you know, their results, like their work actually result in something completed and do something in the world.
So, you know, also you're going through a massive transition that I'd love to share with everybody because it's major. You know, you have gone from 1 to 3 million, and our growth periods are, you know, our I guess our growth qualifiers are 300,000 to $1 million. That's, you know, 1, then 1 to 3 million, then 3 to 10. And you are now firmly on your way from 3 to 10. And one of the big transitions you had to make is to go from running the company all through really primarily having conversations with just the person in operations to now you're building out a leadership team. How has having a strategic plan helped you build the leadership team?
Well, so I should just quickly share what I did because it was a mistake that I made. That's great learning experience. So I went from having everybody report to me when I started because I didn't have a team and it was like I had to work with everybody. Hating that because I don't want to be on calls with everybody to saying like, I want the least amount of people to report to me so I have the least amount of check-ins to have
the pendulum was banging back and forth.
Yeah. One person reporting to me. And I used to like brag about it. Like I only have one person reporting to me. Then now what I like that caused issues because everybody was running through that one person and it was like creating these extra layers, which you helped me realize. And then once I realized I changed it. So now I have 5 people currently who report to me because I have to go build like foundational things in each of these departments. I probably won't always have 5, but the strategic plan like has made it so I actually don't have to do more than check in with all of these people once a week because they know what they're working on and I know what they're working on. And it's like very clear. So they're in our weekly planning and then we have our one-to-one and that's enough because everybody's clear and they don't have all these questions and they don't need me every day to be like, okay, now go and do this. Like it's really clear. And so it's made it so that I can build out all these departments and leaders without being on the phone 6 hours a day. Like they can go and do it because we have a plan and everybody's on the same page with where we're going.
So let's get very real about this because I want everyone to hear this because one of the big myths and lies that entrepreneurs tell themselves is I can never build a team because I'm a bad manager. And I will admit I'm a bad manager. I think you would admit you're not a great manager. But when it comes to leadership, if we can be in a leadership position, we're in our zone of genius. We're in a position of strength. That's who we are. Like you're not just building a business. You're leading an entire tribe of influencers that are following the Hirsh Marketing Report. And if you're not, you should go get the Hirsh Marketing Report on Emily's site like today. It's one of the most valuable pieces on marketing intelligence online today online. And then you're doing all these things. So how long do you meet with that 5-person leadership team each week?
Well, we do a 1-hour leadership meeting on Mondays.
How long are your one-on-ones?
They're booked for an hour, but rarely do they go an hour. Like I did one today, it was 30 minutes and that's all we needed. So 30 to 60 minutes, depending on the need, but I just have a 1 hour booked with them if they need it every week. And I don't get like a bunch of Voxer messages and stuff in between. Like they don't, because I also empower them, like you are responsible for your department. So you need to make decisions. Like, unless you really don't know what to do, you can come to me, but they have that like empowerment from me to be able to own their department and what they need to do. Because we have a strategic plan.
Right. Yeah. Because they have a plan. They know what they're pursuing. So I want everyone listening to put the building blocks together here. If you have a strategic plan, and you're willing to meet with your team, and let's get real here. This is a 5-person leadership team. And with a 5-person leadership team, you can run a $100 million company. I've seen it done. So 5-person leadership team. And what you just said is it's somewhere between about 3.5 to 6 hours a week to lead a 5-person leadership team in a $3 million company all the way up to $10 million. And when people tell me like, I can't do it, it takes too much time, or I'm not a good manager, what would you tell those people?
I mean, I guess that you don't have a plan if you think that, because no, seriously, like if you are able to be that visionary because you have space to do it, you know where you want to take the company. But honestly, I also let them tell me what needs to happen. Like my head of the ads department, when we sat down, I was like, you tell me all the problems. Let's put it on the board. And then we can set goals. But like, I don't know the problems because I'm not in the day-to-day of it, you know? So they help me also. I'm not like, here's our plan and you guys are just going to follow me and do what I say, because I want them to tell me what they need and what we need to do to get to the next level. So like we set obviously revenue goals and client goals and like the direction I set, but they are also telling me what those goals need to be to get us there because they know better. So I mean, if somebody feels like they can't do it, it's because you're just not clear. You're not clear about where you're going, and you're overwhelmed because they're coming to you for too much because they're not clear about what they're doing.
Yeah. And that's where you start feeling like a terrible manager and you get out of leadership. And I mean, you also know what that feels like, right? When there's not clarity and people are calling you all the time, that level of overwhelm makes it so as an entrepreneur, it's hard to even think about the future.
Yeah, for sure.
So, just to wrap up, so give us a little bit, like, other than having clarity on the team, what else has improved for you as a business owner by having the strategic plan, by communicating it clearly to your team, by building out these processes? What else has gotten better for you?
I mean, I would say like the biggest thing is my personal life has gotten better. Like my time, right? Like you said I work out every morning. Like I didn't do that. When we first met, I didn't have any time to do that. So I do that now, and like can stop, I can take a day off if I want. Tomorrow I could clear my schedule, or be able to be with my kids in the afternoon and not feel super unpresent because I have all these Voxer messages coming in. So having a strategic plan empowers your team to know where they're going. They don't need you like they do when they don't know, where they're going. They're confused all the time, which buys back your time to, one, grow the business, but also have your life back.
So Emily, I appreciate you doing this podcast, and I can't let you off without like revealing what you just teased the entire audience with, that you have a launch coming up. So I know anybody listening to this podcast just heard you say, I have a launch coming up, and now they're questioning like, what is the launch? I want to know what Emily's launching. So I know you haven't talked a lot about this out in the public. I think you've done a couple of Facebook Lives so far, but let's put it out there. What is the product you're launching, and what does it do?
Yeah, so we're launching our first ever course, which will teach everybody basically what we do for clients. And I feel like I have some of the best knowledge. You've helped me realize I have some of the best knowledge out there with all of our clients that I always am constantly trying to like harvest and put it into a place that people can learn from. And so it's a 20 module course. So it's a beast. And we've got it like student tracks. So depending on if you've never run ads or you have run ads or you're going to scale your ads, you like pick what material you need to go through to get there. So it's everything we do for clients, from like the actual marketing strategy of what should your funnel be, to how to run the ads, to how to scale your ads. And then there's a live component too. There's bi-weekly calls that you get access to, so you can come in and ask like your specific questions and not just depend on hoping you understand the material as you go through it.
So I think that hundreds of entrepreneurs are going to line up and buy this product, but I also think other agencies are going to buy this. And, whenever somebody puts a product like this out, the question is like, Emily, aren't you afraid other agencies are going to get this and then they're going to get ahead of you? What do you answer to that?
No, I just laugh. They don't have my process. I mean, they don't have my processes. And they don't have my team. Honestly, like I can't say enough about that. My team and the work I've done to putting in the processes is why we've been able to sign those big clients, why we are here where we are. I know plenty of really amazing marketers and strategists who quit after, X amount of clients because they didn't want to grow a team and shifted gears. And I've made it past the like really difficult, it's probably like 25 clients. It's really hard to manage, and we're at 65 and growing. So I've made it past there and we can keep going. So, I mean, nobody can be you and, take my team. My team is my superpower.
That's so awesome. Oh, I love hearing. I just got chills when you said that. That was so cool.
And it is all thanks to you. Like, I'm literally not just saying this because I'm on your podcast. Like, literally having Alex in the room with my team, I was like, you guys don't understand. None of you would be here today if it wasn't for Alex, like, helping me, because it's, sometimes I might make it sound easy. It's not easy, but if you do the work, it's worth it.
Yeah, that's so awesome, Emily. I just got chills when you said my team is my superpower. What an awesome, that's going to be the title of the podcast now. I want to thank you for being here. It's been awesome. And I want everyone who's listening to know we're going to put a link in the show notes to Emily's launch, because I don't think there's anyone in the market today. And I'm going to make this statement. It's a strong statement. I don't think there's anyone in the market that has the processes and the structure. And here's the big one, the market feedback that Emily and her team do. So if you are thinking about doing your own ads, or you've had an agency doing your own ads, or if you're, considering doing something different with what you're doing on Facebook, this course is for you. In fact, even if you run a larger company like I do, this is a course you buy and you hand it off to the person that does the ads, like for somebody on your team. And so I know I'm going to get into the program. I know we have team members that are waiting to see the program, because even though we work with you as an agency, having the level of intelligence that you're going to put in that program is going to make it easier for us to interface with you and do even more.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm super excited. It's an amazing product that just doesn't exist out there today, because nobody has that strategy that we have. Like, we have access to so much. I mean, we manage over $1 million a month in ad spend. So we've taken all of that and how it's working and what is and isn't working, and put it into material for people.
So awesome. So if you are any type of business who's doing business online, check the show notes. You want to get Emily, and what's it called, Emily?
Ignite.
Yeah. So awesome. It's so funny. We have a product called Ignition. You and I
know, and we didn't even realize until after we told each other the product names.
I'm so proud of you, Emily. It's been just incredible working with you for the past year and a half. And there was 3 or 4 times during the team meeting where I was with your whole team where I got like emotional, because I remember you coming and saying like, I can't build a team and I'm only going to work with contractors and I never want to have team members. And you just, you reversed and you applied and you implemented like very few people I've ever seen. And as a result, you've built a world-changing company. And we started working together. I just want everyone to know, because this always blows me away. I think you were 22, right?
So you're, yeah.
22.
Yeah.
So had $1 million company at 22 and drove it to 3 million by 24. And who knows what's going to happen by the time you're 25.
Yeah, I mean, we're launching this course, so good double.
I can't wait to watch it, Emily. It's so awesome. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're ready to put a strategic plan in place like Emily talked about, we have a new product for you. We are actually launching. And by the way, Emily and I have simultaneous launches going on, and we didn't plan that either.
Or the names.
And so we have a new product called Billionaire Code Foundation. And the reason we call it Foundation is we are going to teach you how to build the strategic plan that Emily talked about. If you go to billionairecodefoundation.com, we have all the information there. And here's one caveat. I don't want you to wait, because we are launching it as a beta program. And in beta programs with our company, I'm involved. And when you get to the website and you see the price, it's not a mistake. I'm going to be involved I'm the coach for the first 6 weeks of the program. So if you've ever wanted to work directly with me in a group setting, building your strategic plan and getting clarity around where you're going to go as a business, this is your opportunity. Go to billionairecodefoundation.com. And Emily, can we do this again in another 6 months?
Yeah, I can't wait to see where we are in 6 months. Maybe
same here.
Like 50.
I love going back and listening to the podcast you and I have already done, because, and if you're listening, you might want to do that, because the level of growth and development and momentum is crazy. It takes a very unique entrepreneur just like you to make that happen.
I honestly couldn't do it without you. People ask me, will I help them with their team? Because I've built an amazing team. And I'm like, no, you need to go find Alex, because I couldn't have done this without him. And I'm really not just saying that. So anything you put out is the best I've ever seen.
Love you, Emily.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.